diving deep into our wounds. Yet I will be ripped apart before I choose a side. Yet the shadow of glass beneath my feet, it cuts this godforsaken street. Why can't we make things disappear? Feel the poison from our tears. Oh, crocky crosses pinned on the wall. Slow destruction of our childhood homes. High illusions that seem no more, no more. Rocky crosses pinned on the walls. Slow destruction of our childhood homes. High illusions that seem no more, no
Yes, people, welcome back to another stream, man. This was called the title race show, innit? But it's fucking, there's no title race anymore, innit? You know what I mean? So we're just gonna, we've changed in there. I don't know what the name of the show is called. Maybe you guys in the chat can let us know. Give us some name suggestions. But it's
Were any of us ever in a title race? Let's be real. Anybody on this panel ever in a title race this year? I don't think we were, any of us, to be honest. But there we go.
Nah.
Oh, Chelsea were the closest.
Oh yeah, shit. Chelsea were.
Actually, were, you know, yeah.
Chelsea were for like a month, and people were like, "Oh shit, could they actually win it?"
They could have overtaken Liverpool in November. Isn't that right, Dan?
How close were you, Dan?
2 points. You're on mute, mate.
You're on mute, bro. Oh,
I think it was 2 points, and they were playing before them, and they could have gone ahead.
What was hilarious was, Wolfie, they played Everton, Fulham, and Ipswich. It wasn't like they had Man City, Arsenal, and like Tottenham. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, these are going to be they're going to win those three and then go from there. But yeah, I think Dan's got audio problems, so we can't hear you, bro. But yeah, no, I don't know. Chelsea, let's be real. Chelsea were actually looking half decent, and then I think reality set in.
Yeah, no, that's
or Maresca said, and he did the same thing he did with Leicester, didn't he? Yeah,
so
just
true.
Collapsed around the same time.
Did you watch the Liverpool game yesterday, Dan?
Yeah.
Is that it for you now? Have you given up? I know you was pretty like give up anyway, but
I'd given up anyway, but I suppose I don't even know if it's now in a coffin, really, because I didn't expect them to lose. Do you know, like when you go into a game thinking, Liverpool might lose this one, maybe that'll give us a chance. I didn't think that. I thought Liverpool would win. And if I'm honest, I think they stunk their way through it, didn't they? Everton had a couple of chances. I didn't think Liverpool looked particularly good. James Tarkowski should have got sent off, to be fair. But other than that, Everton actually did have the better of the chances. I think they scored, ruled offside. They had another chance with Beto hit the post. Van Dijk got absolutely schooled, by the way, and spun by him. I don't know what was happening with Van Dijk last night, but I don't know. People think I'm bitter when I say this. Before I make the comment, I don't genuinely believe Arsenal had any chance of winning a title this year, and I didn't predict us to win it. And we've never really been in a title race. But I will look back in history and think that Liverpool team was all right. I'll never look back and go, no one could catch them. They were far too good. They were like miles ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disrespectful because obviously they can still get an unbelievable amount of points. Liverpool fans don't like to hear it, but I don't think they'll be remembered as the side that last won the league. That was Liverpool. I think that.
No. I think you can say that and it'd be fair. Obviously, Liverpool fans are not going to hear it, and I get that. Yeah, but you can say they're deserved champions this season,
100%.
But at the same time, put them in 90% of other Premier League races and they wouldn't get a sniff. You know, I think that's pretty fair to say. Like Liverpool fans, obviously they won't like us saying that, but like they shouldn't really care because at the end of the day, like, you're still winning a Premier League, innit?
And I wouldn't care if they said to me, "Oh, this Arsenal team's pretty crap though, still, innit?" I'll be like, "Yeah, but we won the league. I don't care." But some of the Liverpool fans, you say that to, they're like, "What? No, we're unbelievable." And you think, "Hang on, well, okay, you're a good side, but you're out of everything other than the Premier League. You're not a great side. You're not a double winning side. You're not a treble winning side. You're not a Centurions. You've not gone invincible." To be fair, as I say, I think the COVID season they were absolutely brilliant that season. And let's be real, before COVID had even hit, they pretty much won the league that March, hadn't they? Let's just be real.
Oh, yeah,
They were always going to win the league that year. So for me to win it that early, you know, is against, in my opinion, one of the best Man City sides, one of the best Premier League sides we've ever seen. There's no Premier League side that's gone up against them. You don't look around. I mean, we're talking about the top 5 today. I mean, that's how bad it's got. Yeah. Oh, the top 5 race is insane. That means the season's been shite. Yeah. Everybody has been crap. That's what it is. Leicester season. This is what it is. It's a Leicester season where Tottenham could win the league that year, and Arsenal ended up somehow coming second when we were never in it. Like,
is this the worst Premier League season of all time?
No.
Up there.
No.
Well, it's not for Forest fans.
What's the worst Premier League season of all time?
No, but Wolfie's saying that because he's a Forest fan. That's why.
Yeah. All right, Wolfie, take your Forest glasses off, yeah? Is this the worst Premier League season of all time? There's no title race, and there hasn't been a title race realistically since like December. There's no relegation like race. That's done as well. We've got a Champions League race, which is pretty cool. There is quite a few teams in that, but the title race, the most important thing, and relegation, both dead.
Yeah, but even the football's been dead as well.
The what?
The football. Like I think some of the teams are playing, it's just so systematic and boring. Like I feel like the excitement's gone out of a lot of the games as well.
Do you think that can return, or you reckon like we're going to be in a cycle now for a few years where this is the same thing? Do you reckon like next year we can be like, yes, back, or do you reckon like we're going to? Because you know, like people say like football can be like cyclical and all that kind of shit. Yeah. Do you think we're in a period now maybe where the next 2, 3, 4 years like it's going to be dead? We're going to have the same title winner or the same relegation. Everyone's playing dead football, or you reckon we can actually get back to playing like and having like an entertaining league? Because this year has been dead, hasn't it?
I think the relegation thing is the biggest issue in the league right now.
Yeah.
The teams coming up are so shit that they're just going straight back down. And I think that's going to cause the problem. What I think is going to be fascinating to see is can the likes of Forest, Brighton, etc., sustain it next year, Newcastle and what have you, and how does that reestablish the order at the top? Because I think Forest and Newcastle, if they get Champions League, will spend big this summer. I mean, we're talking about this off air. Arsenal are spending big, Man City, Liverpool. This could be one of the craziest summers we see, which may make it more interesting than the actual season we've just seen from a neutral perspective. Obviously not from my perspective.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, it could be fascinating. And then we'll look at the start of next season and, you know, it'll be interesting to see what everyone's squad is like, who signed who, how it starts. Next season, I think you were saying it, Potts, it could be fascinating to see, but are we just looking with hopium rather than anything else?
I think we are looking with hope, but we're also like, there is reason behind it. Like Liverpool have to spend money this summer. Like they spent 10 million quid in the summer. They will not get away with not spending money again. So they have to spend money. Newcastle, I think, have got like money to spend now. They've obviously had a few years where they've not really been able to spend money because of FFP. They should be able to spend. City need to do another 300 million. Arteta's hyping up everyone, saying, oh, Arsenal's going to spend loads of money. They're going to be the best transfer window of all time. You know what Chelsea are like? Chelsea also always spend money. And then you've still got the likes of Villa. And then obviously, like you say, you've still got your Bournemouths, Brentford, your Brightons. What are they going to do? So I think that this summer is going to be huge. I reckon everybody's going to spend a lot of money. It's going to get super competitive. It just how does it actually play out in the football next year? But I think sorry, Potsy, you said it just a minute ago before we went live. Like there could be like 5 different teams that win the league next year. Like there could be like a 5-way title race for quite a lot of the season. Like Newcastle are a solid team. They just got the first silverware. For me, and it's kind of mad. Newcastle fans like sometimes take this the wrong way, but it's meant as a compliment, not a diss. I actually think they've underperformed this year in the Premier League. Underperformed. And again, that's not negative. That's a positive. I think that team is so good that they should be in a title race. Arsenal obviously dropped off. City have dropped off. Chelsea next year, if they buy a goalkeeper and a striker, surely will be in a title race for the rest of the season. So it's about for me, It's whoever has the best transfer window, man. Whoever has the best transfer window this summer will probably capitalise. But it's all about the summer. It's all about the summer for me, lads.
Do you know what else is interesting?
Bring that table up again, LB, a minute, right? The bottom half of it, yeah.
Yep.
So this is how bad this season has been, right? People have been, and I've been one of these, by the way, have been praising Bournemouth at how fantastic Iriola is and what an unbelievable side they have. And they're 10th on 44 points, right? That is an unbelievable season for Bournemouth, apparently. You look at Crystal Palace, right? Glasner's one of the most informed managers at the moment. They're 12th. Right. Then you look at 40 points being safe. Look at the state of these relegation sides down here. Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton are on 10, 17, and 20 points. Now, we're not at Christmas here, by the way. Yeah, which is where you would be if you were in relegation fight with those. We're in fucking April, and they're on 20 points. And that for me is shocking. West Ham, right? Lawless is in the mud, bruv. Yeah, he told everybody that West Ham are going to be fighting for 5th or 6th this season. They're 16th, man. Like, and he now tries to go back on it. Oh, I didn't say that. I didn't say it. Yes, you did, mate. It's on tape. I've got evidence. Yeah, we've got Everton. Tottenham. What a laugh. Man United. Joking. Yeah, do you know what I mean? This is an embarrassment. And like, we're taking the mick out of our clubs up the top, going, oh, it's a shame we didn't go for it. Look at the state of some of these clubs, man. Yeah. Like Deji. Like, oh, Tottenham will get 3rd. The state of them. It's
10 wins all season. That's crazy. You know, my team was 15, which is shy. Like, it's just crazy. But look at that. Southampton have won 2 games. 2
Who are they against? One was Ipswich. And I can't remember the...
Leicester. It was Ipswich and Leicester. Yeah.
No, they lost to Leicester. They lost to Leicester.
I thought they beat Spurs, no? Did not beat Spurs?
Now, Ipswich beat Spurs. Leicester beat Spurs. Southampton. Who was it? It was Everton. Everton. They beat Everton.
Everton.
I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the City game last night, but Leicester, oh my God, they are trash.
I told you they're the worst team in the league. They are the worst team in the league.
Well, Leicester fan come in my chat for kickoff and went, GG's on like the win today, bro. This is the worst Leicester side since the 1970s. He said
absolutely. Do you know? I've said it, and I think who was I arguing? I think it was probably Sava that Leicester are worse than Southampton footballing wise. And he's like, oh, look at their stats and what have you. I'm saying, look at it on the eye. This Leicester team haven't scored a goal in 2025 or something like that at home. It's like their fan base. I mean, when Locks Pots, they're waiting to celebrate a goal. That's the stage we've got to. Leicester fans are waiting to celebrate a goal. Yeah, and they still haven't seen it.
Locks and Ash, right? Who obviously come, everyone knows Locks, but Ash used to come at 12th man as well. They are literally so down in the dumps about it. Like Locks, I love Locks. Locks can be kind of deluded as well, though, right? But he was telling me that between 10th and 15th, he predicts Leicester to finish, right? Yeah, and that was under Steve Cooper, by the way. This Ruud van Nistelrooy, by the way, is a fraud. Absolute fraud of a manager. Yeah, and I'm so glad because I can't stand that.
What pedigree's he got in football? What's he done?
Exactly. Well, he's as a player, he was incredible. But as a manager...
Yeah, I mean, as a manager, innit?
Awful. Well, his pedigree is that he beat Leicester as Man U's manager. Do you know what I mean? That's like all these pretty much got.
I know, Wolfie, I know you wanted Cooper out, right? And I understand why, because look at you now with Nuno. I think they would have done better if they would have just kept Steve Cooper. Real talk. Like
this still would have gone down. Pops.
Yeah, I think they would have gone down.
Oh, no, they would have gone down 100%. They would have got more points than now, right? Because Van Nistelrooy is a mess with them.
I still don't think they would have had enough. We played Leicester away in Steve Cooper's last game, and they were diabolical. They were so poor, and I just looked at them and was like, they're gone. Like they're just
there's a lot of revisionism going on. It is fueled by a lot of Forest fans saying, "Oh, if you kept Cooper and all that." Cooper was not good enough to keep him up. Their squad was not good enough to stay up.
Yeah, it was their squad that wasn't good enough, to be fair.
But for Leicester to have found a worse Premier League manager than Cooper is absolutely hilarious, in my opinion. It is just so funny to see. But
they were so fooled by that interim period at United, weren't they? Like they saw Van Nistelrooy go in there, do okay, and they thought, you know what, well, let's give him a chance.
It's because he played Leicester. I think he played them twice there, once in the cup and once in the league, and they were right. So the only team he pretty much beat was Leicester. But just go back to this point about the league and how dead it is. Like it's been so long since a manager's been sacked this season. Usually at this stage, when the season's a bit more competitive, even at the bottom end, I'm talking. Someone's panicking and hitting the button, aren't they? And just remember when Leeds did it with Sam Allardyce, Leicester did it as well 2 years ago. They sacked their manager with 8, 9 games to go. Everyone's just made their peace because everyone knows who's going down, and the rest are like, well, let's not pay out compensation. It's all done. And I'm not advocating people losing their jobs, but it's dead even at the bottom. It's dead.
But is it because these clubs are happy that they get Premier League money for a season and they know that's more than what they'll get in the Championship? So they're happy to be part of that cycle.
It's worth £180 million.
That's it. And then they'll come up next season, one of them through the playoffs, and they'll have 2 unbelievable paydays. It's just worth being part of the cycle as a business model.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the ones now, I think Sheffield are top, aren't they? If they come up, they go straight back down. What have they been
down for a season?
Yeah, they'll go straight back down.
There's probably about 8 teams just rotating in the cycle that are just happy to have that as their business model until they can eventually close the gap. Okay.
Which shows you how great the job Forest did was because the other teams that came up with us, Fulham and Bournemouth, both had been in the Premier League recently. So when it came to PSR, Forest came up with an allowance of 13 because we had been in the Championship. They had more of an allowance because they'd bounced up and down. So yeah, I think that was the last season. Those 3 teams that came up are going to be the last 3 teams that have a fighting chance.
How do you now?
We didn't cheat. We got a speeding ticket, right? Don't do all this again.
No, but here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Look at the players that Forest signed compared to the players that Burnley signed last year.
Yeah,
that Southampton signed. Yeah, I'm looking at Southampton, right? They signed Flynn Downs from West Ham, 18 million quid, young player. Cameron Archer from Villa, young player. Matías Fernandez, Sporting Lisbon, young player. Yeah, they signed all the young players.
They did it this season prior to them going down before. They signed like Bella Kotchap.
Because Dan, you said it a second ago. These owners, it's a business model. Yeah. They buy they buy young players because if one of them works, they get to sell them like they did with Lavia. They bought Lavia for 14 million. He could have been absolutely shit. But he worked out. They sold him for 60. They made 40-odd million pound profit on him. Job done. Burnley did it. They bought Odebert, for 15 million. Sold him to Spurs for like 35.
Coley Rocha, whatever he's called.
These teams are not arse, mate. Like if I was being promoted, as a newly promoted side, why would I buy? If I wanted to stay in the division, why would I buy a lot of young players? You need experience. And that, if you look at, I remember when one of the first players I think you signed, correct me if I'm wrong, Wolfie, was that Navas in goal?
No, it was in January.
Was that in January? You still signed an experienced goalkeeper in that season.
Yeah, no, we got Henderson. From United.
You went for like Sanagri and players like that were being linked with Champions League sides.
Yeah, Sangare. He's just Sangare's just not had a run with injury.
Yeah.
But
I actually quite like him. I actually quite like him.
I do as well. The Forest fan base hate him. They just hate him. But I still think there's a player in him. We signed the likes of Lingard. I don't talk.
Well, check this one. Yeah. So this was the year he got promoted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So let's have a look at this. Right. So, where is it? There it is. Right, so let's have a look at this, right? So you got Hudson-Odoi, Prem proven. I said at the time, by the way.
No, that was the year after, mate. That was the year after.
Season before that, I think.
Was it the season before that, man?
Yeah, it's that one. Go up.
Yeah, that's departures, isn't it?
Go up, go. There. Down.
What are you talking about? That is it.
That was the one we were on.
That's all I was on.
No, that's not it.
It must be down, Milby. Must be down further. Keep going.
Oh, that one.
You go. That one.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's it.
Gibbs White. Yeah, Gibbs White.
Right. So first of all, Gibbs White.
Yeah.
A player that has been a 1 year, right? This guy, I really like this guy as a striker. A big, strong striker, old school, gets the ball in the back of the net.
He was in the Bundesliga. Well. He was the 3rd top goal scorer. That was the season Haaland was in there. And Lewandowski.
Look at the type of players you're signing here, compared to what these guys are signing. Yeah, Dennis, again, another big, strong lad. Physical.
Lodi was a fantastic signing.
Yeah, you got Mangala in there as well. Nicky,
even Willy Bolly, and that's shrewd business. That's
Bolly
a guy
was
that knows
really
how to
good.
Navigate relegation battles. A guy.
But the thing is, Bolly was a signing that they signed to stay in the division.
I'll tell you who else was good that year.
To be like, oh, we'll sign him, get relegated, and we'll flog him for a load of money. They signed players to stay in the division, and that's what they did.
Serge Aurier was a fantastic signing for us that year. He was quality.
That Freuler come off the back of an Unreal World Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, for Switzerland. Yeah, he was okay. He was being used wrong. But we spent a lot of money. We got the piss. I mean, that list is long. It probably scrolls down a lot longer than that. Was 30 odd that year.
There's all the loads to come as well.
Yeah, there you go. Now we're talking.
400 to come.
Yeah, Chiquiate was all right.
Look at that one. Imagine a newly promoted team signing a goalkeeper on loan, Keylor Navas. They wouldn't do that, would they?
From PSG.
They'd be like, nah, we need some 19-year-old man.
You know what? The free transfers there is some really smart business. Like a couple of those names in there, they knew. Like Hennessy's great for a dressing room. Andre Ayew as well is a Premier League proven player. There's a Chiarte as well.
Chiarte was good.
Yeah,
for us,
Dean Henderson, obviously, Serge Aurier. Like they've all got good experience. So I think you can't blame Forest for the way they did it. They knew they would probably face a punishment, but they knew it was worth Premier League safety, and that's what they wanted to do, because the clearest thing with the Forest owner is that he's there to win and he wants this team to do well, whereas I think we've already said with the other teams, they're all business first, and I genuinely believe Forest are football first.
No, 100%. Look at this. This is Southampton's transfer window, this summer. I mean, just look at the state of that.
How much they've spent? About 100 mil there, haven't they?
Yeah, but look at what they spent it on.
I hear.
Howard Best was an obligation, right? Ramsdale, that just whatever. Flynn Downs, young.
This is his third relegation, by the way, Ramsdale.
Yeah,
but I think that's a stupid signing with Ramsdale. Like at that level, even if you got Buffon in prime Buffon time, he's not gonna keep clean sheets for you. Do you know what I mean? There's just too many attacks coming your way. They didn't need to spend 18.5 mil on Ramsdale. And he's probably going to leave anyway when they go down.
And where's the goal scorer? Cameron Archer. It's like a gamble, isn't it? It's like
Cameron Archer was... but LB, Cameron Archer was at Sheffield United the season before on loan, and he did fuck all for them. That was a stupid sign.
What they've done there is they've bought young players or players that haven't been proven at the top level other than Ramsdale. Flynn Downs was good at Southampton in the Championship. Harwood Bellis, to be fair, has been decent, but he was at Man City as a young kid, Cameron Archer was decent on loan, Villa couldn't get him in their side. Obviously, Benbro and Diaz was brilliant in the Championship for, was it Blackburn? And wasn't really doing it anywhere else. So for me, they're kind of, look at them there and you think, Adam Lallana, Charlie Taylor. Do you know what I mean? These guys have just like,
They've got Lallana. I didn't even know he was there.
They got Ryan Fraser, Charlie Taylor.
Ryan Fraser. Come on, man.
Ryan Fraser.
Bro, it gets even worse. Check Leicester's.
There's a joke.
Leicester's was a joke, man.
Oliver
they got Harry Winks and Oliver Skipp in their midfield.
20 mil on Skip.
What is that? What is
he
that?
He called over Reed and Jordan Ayew. I mean, come on, man. Really? Like,
what is that?
I think what's funny? They got Canuce looks pretty good, if I'm honest. I do think
20 million on Oliver Skip. Are you mad?
They got Eduardo on loan from Palace, and I don't think they've used him or just used him in 2 or 3 games. It's like even the players they got in, they didn't use because they were so shit. Decado over Reed is one of the shittest signings I've ever seen, and he's been terrible at Leicester.
Shocking.
Yeah, I'd say Buonanotte was a good one for them. And then El
they seem to really like him, didn't they, their fans, I think?
Yeah,
he was good when he come off the bench yesterday.
And also, Faturu, they already had him in the Championship. So I don't know if that was like an obligation or something.
Maybe.
But he's all right.
It's not a bad player. But like when you're at the bottom of the table and you're scrapping, like he's not the type of player really that you want. Like, he'd probably be better, but it's just a dead transfer window, isn't it? Yeah. How are Leicester doing that? That is just awful. That's just an awful. Like you're still playing fucking Jamie Vardy, mate. He's 25, and Jamie Vardy's still starting.
And he's still their best striker, man. Easily.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Bro, they still got Patson Daka. You remember how much did they spend on Patson Daka? You remember that?
They got him from Salzburg, didn't they?
There you go. Yeah, 30 million.
30 million euros.
Played with Haaland. They were playing together, I think. Daka and
It's just like, what have they
what a
done,
mess.
man?
What a mess.
Like,
You
how
look at
have
where
they
they come
gone?
from as well, man, Leicester. You look at how good they were when they won the league, won the FA Cup under Brendan. I was like, wow, James Maddison, Yuri Tielemans, obviously Vardy
Kante.
absolutely balling, and N'Golo Kante, Riyad Mahrez. I'm like, wow, this is unbelievable. Look at the state of them now. Oh, dear me.
But bro,
Are they
they're
up
just
for
like,
sale?
look at the money that they've got, that they've spent. No, like
Yeah.
they spent fucking shitload of money, mate.
Do you know what's nuts as well? Is I would have loved to have seen Maresca with this side because this is his team. He brought him up.
I
Oh
don't
my
think he would have
gosh.
done much, to be honest with you.
No,
mate.
I don't.
To
I
be
think it would have
honest.
been diabolical.
What about Ipswich? What was theirs?
Theirs was
They
good.
spent a lot as well.
Theirs was a good window, though, to be fair, but they
Mari
needed to have
Hutchinson
one because
went
they just
for
But
had
they bought a lot of the championship prospects, didn't they? Those ones that were gonna.
And he bought, like, Kieran McKenna bought who he knew from the under 18s 4 years ago, basically, like Amari Hutchinson, Philogene.
Are the blue ones January? Is that what it is? Like
I
the
think
highlighted
so.
ones, they're Jan.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe that's what it is.
It is.
Because
Did they sign Philogene in January? Yeah.
Jan. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
that's
fair,
that's
their
probably what it is.
recruitment actually weren't like.
I thought it
wouldn't
was
have said
good.
was
That
fantastic.
Kajust is really good from Napoli, by
And
the way.
they tried there,
Exactly.
160 mil. So they have actually spent money.
Mate,
You know,
they spent more than we did then, and
Yeah,
we
they've
got
spent
so
a
much
hell of a
shit
lot of
for
money.
spending.
But yeah,
Oh,
we
hell of
spent
a lot of
20
money.
million. Yeah.
But they're the
spent a lot of
closest.
money.
They're the closest to staying up, aren't they? Like if you
Yeah, they're
if you
9
did it,
points off.
they were the ones that should have really finished rock bottom. Because
Yeah.
Kieran McKenna should never have taken them up from League One and then Championship to Premier League again. Like in 2 years, that's insane what he did. So they're the ones that should be getting battered. But the recruitment has kept him. Calvin Phillips was obviously there as well. Ben Johnston, Johnson was over at West Ham. You've obviously that Kajust, by the way, is an excellent player from Napoli. That Alex Palmer looks like a good signing. Now they finally got a keeper instead of that Muric, who was a bad signing.
Yeah.
Liam Delap was an unbelievably good signing. Obviously, Amari Hutchinson as well. He was at Arsenal, went to Chelsea, and then obviously was signed. So I actually rate what Kieran McKenna's done, and
Clark's
I hope
a good player.
Go back up. Jack Clark is a good player, yeah.
And
So
Schmodix came with like top score for the championship.
Well, I was going to say that, Dan. That shows you the gap because he was one of the best strikers in the championship. He was at Blackburn, wasn't he? And he hasn't been able to.
I
to
think
kind of hit the ground running.
they've backed championship players in the sense that they know if they fail to make the grade for the Prem,
Exactly.
they're in a
Back up.
very comfortable position to come back
Exactly.
up.
But
I don't
some
think
of these
it's the
players
worst
are probably
idea.
going to be sold in the summer.
Only
Liam
Liam
Delap are gonna
Delap.
be there.
That's the
Yeah.
only player I see.
yeah, I
Otherwise,
agree, Dan. I think only Delap.
Hutchinson,
have-
maybe. I
I've-
think he's been good. And their left back, what's his name? Leaf, is it?
Oh, Leif
Um,
Davis.
maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe those. But I don't mind their model because everyone's going to remember they double promoted, didn't they? So the likelihood of them surviving was small. So what they did, they just used the money and said, okay, go down and we should be able to bounce back up. These players are proven in the championship.
Okay, so what I'd say they've made some good signings there, but they've not made one single signing from a Premier League club who's like a certified player.
Yeah,
Don't
agreed.
think they had the attraction. I just don't
No,
think.
of course
No,
seriously,
you don't
I'm
need to,
serious.
Dan.
I
Someone
don't
coming
think-
to his 30, 32-year-old, something like that,
Sure.
would
And
go
what are their
to...
wages as well? I'm just not sure.
But you say that, Dan. If you look last year at Luton, they got Barkley in, who was being forgotten
that.
about, and then he
but
was able to reestablish
that's
himself.
a risky appointment, isn't it? And arguably, they got Barkley in, but he benefited from playing for them. Rather than them
That's what I mean.
benefiting
That's
from
the
him.
attraction. That's the attraction. Whereas I agree with LB, they haven't brought anyone in who had that Prem experience head in.
I feel like Kieran McKenna's the type of manager that it's risky for him to be bringing in players that are ahead of him and can question what he's asking his team to do. I've
Why?
seen that with other young managers. Like they need players younger than them so they buy into it, rather than older players who have achieved more in the game than what McKenna has.
That's what the
who can
model that
question it.
McKenna's gone with, isn't it?
It
I'm
is,
kind
100%.
of with Dan a little bit because who are they going to go and get? Just pluck out like someone from Villa. who
Calvin
starts every
Phillips
week?
is the biggest name there.
Yeah, but he weren't starting.
But he's shit.
No, but it's the same as like a Ross Barkley, isn't it? In the sense that they've gone for the guy that's being forgotten about. West Ham, obviously, City and Leeds.
I don't know that Ipswich can just go up to like Everton and say, "Can we take like Decore off you, or can we take like what's his name up top, like Beto off you. I was like, they're going to go, no, we need him. So I feel like we need to be realistic with it. I think what Ipswich have done is, look, they're like, crikey, we're expected to go down and be the battering boys. They haven't been. Southampton have been. Leicester have been worse than them. They're the only ones that can still mathematically have a chance. I think they're 9 points off Wolves with, 8 games left.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it, but they're still at least got a mathematical chance. So I think Ipswich are the ones we look at and go, yeah, do you know what, respect. And he's tried to do it with a young team, which doesn't always work. And I think we have to respect that he's gone with that. And Kieran McKenna's been a brilliant manager, by the way.
I hear it, right. But if they get promoted next year, so if they get relegated and they get promoted next year, I think unless they change the model and get some experienced Premier League players in there, or at least like Bundesliga, or they're going to have the same issue because all these players here are all inexperienced at the top league. Now, obviously, coming back, they'll have Premier League experience, but how many of them are going to be there in 2 years' time? I don't know.
We don't even know if the manager will be the same. Like,
listen, I feel like they definitely did the best out of the three, and that's proven in the league table that they are the third up from the bottom. I just feel that where they missed a trick is, I think they needed to get 2 or 3 players in that have had Premier League experience and are decent, solid players, and they could be in the 30s. That's fine. You know, like the Chris Woods of this world. Just guys who have been around the block and they know the situation. Whereas all these guys...
I fully agree because I experienced it. Our best players or players that were important in that first season were Chet Kiarte, Serge Aurier, Willy Bolly. They were 3. Dean Henderson as well. Navas when he came in once Henderson got injured. These are all kind of big, old heads. And especially if you do it at the back. Defensively, it's really important to get that sorted. So we had like Serge Aurier, Kiarte in the CDM position. You had Bolly at the back. It's all important. And then we got like in the January window, we went and got Felipe from Atletico Madrid.
Left back.
No, the centre back. Wolfie, do you know the biggest difference with what you're saying though is Forest were prepared to play any way to survive. We're talking about Southampton, Ipswich having absolute nailed-on philosophies that aren't survival proven, and they've gone and signed players that are of a profile for a certain system. That's why players like Charlie Taylor haven't worked out at Southampton because he's been at Burnley and part of a Sean Dyche team that are fighting and they're doing anything they can to survive. This is the issue I've got with these teams is they focused on a style of football that was never going to lead to survival. They've chosen a style of football that highlights players' ability that can then sell them on for more.
But Dan, you can't win with that one. Like when we were having to play low block football, people are like, "Oh, you're just putting 10 men behind."
But look at Forest now. Every single one of your fans will say, "I'm so glad we survived," rather than going back down.
No, I agree. I mean, you stay up at any means necessary, but the criticism is always there. Whatever you do, we got criticized. Why we at the time were like, "Oh, look at this machine gun approach with your recruitment and stuff." Now people look back at it and think, "Well, you know what? You threw enough shit at the wall, so I'm stuck." And you were able to survive.
But you've got to ignore the criticism from the media and criticism from pundits and criticism from YouTubers or whatever and rival fans. It's all irrelevant.
I agree.
It's all about the output.
Look at Elanga's goal the other night. That's a transition from being in a defensive situation. Like you're still going to have similarities because you're going to be the underdogs in the majority of games you've played, but you've mastered that situation now this season. And you've been able to take the opportunities that have arose from that. But Southampton, how many of like lost points have they caused themselves by like Russell Martin continuously telling players who aren't good enough to play out from the back? They've literally manufactured their own downfall.
So they're not asked about staying in the league then?
They're not, because they believe if they play a style of football that's attractive and highlights technical players' best assets, they then put them in the shop window for more money.
Yeah, because teams like Brighton will be like, "Oh, they got relegated," but this guy looks
imagine
sick.
you sit in a low block for like 25, 30 games in a season and you only win like 8 games. Your chances of your players looking good is going to be minimal, isn't it? They'd rather technically some have a spell.
So
how did the top 5 race turn into a relegation race show, by the way?
Because it's actually more interesting, right? Because you know what does my head in?
I was going to ask that.
You know what does my head in is these pundits, and Gary Neville does this all the time, people like this, they always come out and they make out like the reason the teams that get promoted can't compete is because the money between the Premier League and the Championship is so extreme that they've got no chance. And whenever I listen to them, I'm like, nah, I just disagree. The money might be extreme, but when the championship teams get promoted, they spend it horrifically, as we've just demonstrated. As we've just demonstrated. If I was a manager of a championship team and I got promoted, the first thing I'd make sure is that I had an experienced striker, yeah, or at least like an elite level young player. Like I knew Delap was a quality player. I wanted him to play at City, so he's an elite level, not some random fucking guy. Yeah, and I'd make sure I have a solid goalkeeper. Not Ramsdale, who's been relegated 3 times and got absolutely ditched at Arsenal as well after a year. Like, you know what I mean? And sign all these young players. Where's the experience?
I'll tell you what, Leicester's goalkeeper, I know he fucked up yesterday, but he's a decent goalkeeper. I guarantee they sell him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes Chelsea.
Yeah, Maresca, apparently there was links. In the summer, there was links. Yeah. And Manson. Oh. They paid a bomb for him, you know. He weren't cheap either, was he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, his best game was probably against Arsenal.
This is the problem, right, as well, with these systematic approaches for clubs rather than the manager, is they go and get a manager in that's so set on playing one way and they build a squad around that manager. That manager departs, the squad are just left in no man's land. Yeah, they're like, what do we do now? Another manager comes in, he goes, I've got no chance, because they've got all these habits from a manager who was trying to do something completely different to me. So this is the issue. Like with a team somewhere else in the league, like Manchester United, if they go and back Amorim for a formation that only like works for him and a few other managers, they're going to be left. Like if they sack him and realize he's not doing enough for them, they're going to be lost going forwards, because they'll have a whole team set up to play 3 at the back wing backs, and then they'll have to adapt to a new style. So it is difficult for these clubs. Like if they back a certain type of play style and then want to change it up, it's a risk to take. I think you need to build a squad similar to Forest that can be like a Swiss Army knife and do a number of different things.
But surely if you have experienced players, they're more adaptable.
Do you know what, right? This is a huge thing that I don't think enough...
LB.
Who's?
Vardy's experienced.
Yeah, Vardy might be too far. Too
experienced.
I think the other issue is massively is that there's an era of players in the Prem that are now from a bygone era of a certain style of football that Premier League teams just don't play anymore. And they've sort of found it very difficult to get clubs. And they've been sort of looked past, because teams would rather now sign younger players that have been brought up in academy football to play a certain style, rather than go and sign your players that have been of an older era in the Premier League.
And that's comes back to PSR. Going through. That comes back to PSR. Why are Man City and Chelsea always selling their academy players? Because it's 100% profit.
Yeah.
Who are they going to sell them to?
And they're the more attractive players, as we're seeing for championship teams. They want to go and pay 25 million for Amari Hutchinson. They want to pay 20 million for Liam Delap, 20 million for Jack Clark. Whereas they could go and pay 20 million for someone who's proven in the Prem. But there's a huge gap, I think, from like 27 to 31 of proven Premier League players that have been completely dismissed, come to the end of their contracts and been left as free agents.
Like your Chris Woods.
Yeah, kind of. And only some teams have been willing to take a gamble on them. And the rest of them have had to go championship or further afield and out into different countries and stuff. Because they've kind of been deemed of an older era of football. They don't know how to play certain styles because they weren't brought up on that. It's a massive gap from 27 to 31.
But that means they're cheap. And that means there's a club that should exploit that market and go and get these cheap players. Ben Foster
said the other day, he said, if you let me go in charge of a team, whatever, I would go and sign from like 28 to 33 players that will come to the end of their contract. And I think that team would have a chance of staying up, because it would be the right type of mentality, the right amount of experience, and they'd all come in on pretty affordable wages and low expectation of what they might be able to do. Players like Craig Dawson, for example, I think was someone he said, when Wolves got him, like that sort of player, that there's a good player in there, but people just don't find them as an attractive option anymore.
And I think what you said, LB, about they're bringing them in shop window to make profit on, I think that's a riskier strategy, because you have no guarantee that this young kid you brought on will kick on or will attract a fee of 40, 50 million. Yet, if you do the model that we just talked about, buying the older players, even though you know there's no sell-on value, the value to the club is survival, which guarantees you another minimum of 100 million next year. So that model makes more sense to me, that you should go for that. And it also makes it sustainable, because even if you survive, because you found yourself a wonder kid and you sold that wonder kid, how are you then going to replace him in the following season? Yet if you've locked in these, 28, 30-year-olds into 2-year contracts plus ones and all that, then at least you got them for another year. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds more sustainable to me. It's how it used to be done back in the day.
Yeah. No, facts. I mean, it comes to a super chat. But to Echo Falls, man, says Allmart operates in the half space between casual.
You've seen this TikTok? Have you seen this TikTok?
No.
I think it was a TikTok. Someone made a TikTok of like a player, and then I've seen this loads now, and everyone's just stating like the next player, and then some guy was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was in the shower."
Oh wait, no, we were speaking about this the other day on the channel. No, I've not. I don't think I've seen the actual. Is it a tweet?
Tweet or a TikTok? I've seen it on both. I think.
No, I think I have. I think I have seen it. He says this velocity is spatial entropy. He doesn't run in behind. He quantum leaps to X threat zones.
That's that might as well be in Arabic. I mean, actually, I'd understand it if it's Arabic.
It's just like an exaggeration of how like some people talk about football. Like you get like the position half space.
Or when they talk about field tilt and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly right. It's like an exaggeration of that.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah,
this is what we've got to this season. We're talking about fucking.
Yeah, people have gone mad with it, innit? These fucking things. Let's come on to the let's talk about the top of the table then, the sort of Champions League race, because there's a few teams that are involved now. I was actually checking the table before I come live. I couldn't believe how many teams are in it. Theoretically, yeah. Do we all agree that Forest are done?
Well, I'll ask you, LB, have you changed your mind and saying Forest?
I think Forest are qualified.
So you've changed your mind, yeah?
I cemented my opinion.
I think that Man U game has given it to us because we've still got Leicester, so we got a free win towards the end of the season. I think 65-66 does it. We got to beat one of the teams we've got at the bottom. We've still got Everton, West Ham.
3 wins and you're done.
Yeah, 2 wins, couple of draws.
So you're chilling. So realistically, you're chilling. So Forest are qualified, right? So there's 2 spots left, 4th and 5th. Currently, City have it with Newcastle. However, of course, Chelsea and Newcastle do both have a game in hand on City. Chelsea play tonight against Spurs, which will obviously support Spurs, but Spurs are shit, so Chelsea will probably win that. Then you've obviously got Villa there. They have played 1 game more than Newcastle and Chelsea, which ain't great for them, but they're on 48. Brighton on 47. Fulham on 45. And then Bournemouth on 44, which, even though they're 10th, they're not a million miles away. A couple of wins, stuff going forward, then they might be able to do it, but it's probably a bit of a stretch. What are we saying here, boys, on this top 4, top 5 Champions League race here? Where do we see it going? I think City definitely have the easier fixtures out of the main teams that are in it from what I've seen. Chelsea definitely have the hardest. Newcastle probably feel the best. They've probably got the best feel-good factor, the best morale.
Their fixtures are easy as well, Newcastle.
Yeah, they've not. Yeah. Where do we see this going?
I think
City and Newcastle got the biggest.
I think top 5 as it is, man.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think Villa are the only ones that can spoil the party. That's
Villa were 10th, wasn't it? Before last night, Villa were 10th. So that just shows how quickly you can jump.
It can change. I don't think Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, any of those are a worry, if I'm honest. I think they've done great, but I don't see them getting anywhere near the European places and Champions League places. Chelsea, the reason I say no is I just think their fixtures look awful. And I look at their squad and I just don't think it's good enough. So I think Newcastle have got a better 11 than Chelsea. I think Forest will be fine. I don't know who's going to finish ahead of each other in terms of Forest or City, but I'll go with Forest for now because City just look inconsistent without Haaland.
They lost Haaland as well, haven't they?
Exactly. So I'll stay with the top 5 as it is in that order.
Bro, that running.
Look at that.
LB, right? What you got to do with this running? Because everyone keeps looking at it and being like, oh, it's awful, it's awful.
He's going to say beach. He's going to
3 more Conference League games to add to the rotation issues as well. If we get to the final, So it's diabolical for Chelsea. Honestly, it's not great. And if we don't win tonight, write off any sense of Champions League football because is
your best hope the beach. Like, are you looking at that thinking? You bring those fixtures back up, LB. Are you thinking like Forest will be done and dusted on the beach? You got Man U who will be on the beach.
I just don't think they will. Because I think they'll be against teams that are potentially like a weakened Chelsea side for rotation or something. I'm not sure, but we're going to struggle. with rotation, definitely, because we got rid of so many players in January. And also, he has to win. I think Maresca's got to pick up 15 points to just level Pochettino's tally last season. Otherwise, he won't have improved. So he's got to get. I did it to come back.
Yeah,
Numbers.
I very much doubt Chelsea getting top 5 here.
Do you think Maresca betters Poch? He's got to get 15 points from these fixtures.
Well, if you look at your games, let's assume that form stays as it is, and you always beat Spurs at the Bridge. So you got 3 there. Brentford, I think, is a tough game for you.
We drew that last season. We drew that. We've got an awful record against Brentford, to be fair, since they got promoted.
So you'd say like 4 points. Then you're looking at Ipswich, you should win that. So you lost
the away leg.
Well, you say you should win it. You got to take more context in that. They've got this Europa League game, Conference League game on the Thursday in Legia Warsaw, and then Ipswich is still fighting for their lives here.
I don't think they're fighting for that. I mean, they're free hitting it, aren't they, Ipswich? But
they're 9 points.
What I'm saying is, on paper, they should win that. So they should be on 7. They'll lose that one.
That's a loss. 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 That's a loss.
Honestly, there's no point. There's not enough points in there to get 65 points when I look at it.
That's what I'm saying. There's not enough on paper points.
Even if you beat Everton and you beat, like Brentford or something, even then I'm still scrambling to get like 12, 13 points from this run-in.
And if you look at it right now,
turn up against a couple of the big boys here to make it happen. They're gonna, and our form against the bigger sides has been really poor.
See, and if you bring the table up a sec, LB, because if you look at the table, Newcastle isn't really the one you're targeting because their next game is Leicester. So it's technically Man City are in 5th. So you're looking at
what Chelsea can't fall into the trap of doing is targeting a team to catch up with because it's been so volatile. Chelsea have to set a points tally and achieve it, basically. That's what they've got to do. And
I'm saying 66. 66 gets you top Champions League.
Yeah, so Poch last season, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, got 65 points.
Yeah,
so for Maresca's got to get 16 points or 15 points to get that out of that running up. I genuinely think he isn't going to do better than Poch.
No,
for me, I think
we're in awful form.
I don't think you're in it. If I'm being honest, I think Newcastle will be fine in there.
Yeah.
I think it's between Man City and Villa.
Villa have got Champions League, those aren't they?
Yeah,
the Champions League games.
But Villa are playing all the teams around them. So Villa's fate is almost in its own hands. Because
Southampton, man. Buzzing. This is a big game, this, isn't it? On Saturday. I didn't watch it for that.
I think we lose that. We look too knackered right now. We've played too many games.
Just go and get me a point, yeah? Who did they play?
I'm happy with a point on that one.
Newcastle.
Newcastle.
Yes.
Wow. Hang on,
this is what I'm saying, LB.
Big.
They're playing all the teams in and around this race.
You know what? As a City fan, I probably want Newcastle to win that in a weird way. Because
just to drop Villa out of it.
It might make me finish 5th.
You just want to draw, surely. Both teams drop. Just draw.
Well,
I hear what LB's saying.
If you bothered about 4th, then you might want to draw. But if you genuinely think Villa are a problem, you probably want Newcastle to win the game, so it creates a bigger gap between City and Villa. Yeah, you might end up finishing 5th instead of 4th.
Doesn't matter.
But who gives a fuck?
Yeah. It's like you probably want a Forest win over Villa this weekend.
I said it. I was doing a watch along Forest versus United the other day. People were like, "Why do you want Forest to win?" I was like, "Fuck Forest! Like they're done, man. They're chilling. Like you know what I mean? It's irrelevant to me." But yeah, that game, I probably want a Newcastle win.
They've got to go out to PSG for their best interests because they need Champions League football next season. Like they need it financially.
No, you can't be saying you've got to go out. Man.
It's hard.
They're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League,
and they've got FA Cup semi-final as well. Like they've got a congested fixture list. To be fair,
you just got to send it and just see what happens.
Do you reckon?
Bro.
Just got like Unai Emery.
I'll be looking the other way around if I'm Villa. I'll be looking the other way around if I'm Villa fan.
Same.
I'll be wanting those
PSG,
over the top 4 or whatever it is. Just play Europa League if you have to, but go through to either the finals or get a cup. Villa could Villa could win the FA Cup. Like they can.
Yeah.
Champions League, PSG. Man, if PSG are clinical, I think they're in trouble. But PSG aren't always clinical, as you saw against Liverpool. That's why I went to penalties. So Villa have got a chance. And at Villa Park, under the lights on a Champions League night, I don't think that's easy at all, man. That ain't easy at all.
And you know what, Dan, as well, I'd say this as well, right? It's not like, I know they've got a couple of players, but like Newcastle. I genuinely think Newcastle need to get Champions League because the players they've got in that team, Isak, Tonali, and Bruno G. These are world-class level elite talents. All three of those players would probably get straight into our team, with the exception of maybe Isak at City. Yeah, everyone walks into our team out of them. Bruno G, Tonali, and Isak. Yeah, Villa are much more of like a. They don't really have their big names. I know they've got like Morgan Rogers and that, but Morgan Rogers ain't on the same level as Bruno G. Bruno G's been doing this for years. You know, Tonali's been doing this for years. They don't really have those massive names. Like they've got like Onana, Morgan Rogers, fucking Ollie Watkins,
Tielemans. I think they've spent a lot of money on those players though, LB, that they're now in a position where financially to keep that squad of, those type of players, they need Champions League football. I think they're if they don't get Champions League football, I think they're in a bad position.
I don't know. I feel like those players are not going to be like, oh, we're in the Europa League, so I'm getting out. Whereas if Newcastle get in the Europa League, like
no, I'm not saying get out. I mean financially in terms of like them running the club and.
But they just told Durant, didn't they, for like 90 million?
No, I just heard that if they don't get Champions League football, they're not in a.
And they sold Diaby as well, didn't they? Diaby for a lot of money.
I think they're on the brink. I think they're on the brink. Yeah,
they'll probably sell Watkins in the summer as well, but because
they're on 97% revenue to wage.
Oh yeah, I seen that. They've got the worst one in the league, haven't they?
Yeah, I think this is why. Like they've
half
got
of that's
so
Rashford.
many players.
How has that happened then?
Rashford.
Like, who's on big money? Should I get their salaries?
I reckon they're probably all on pretty good money. And they'll be like the Tielemans would have gone from a decent Leicester side to an Aston Villa side, made more money. Probably signed a lot of these players on free contracts or running down their contracts as well.
I saw it online. They've got the worst. What's it called, Dan? It's got like squad cost to turnover or something.
Ratio, yeah.
Squad cost ratio, yeah. These are the wages.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot on 100 minimums. Yeah, they're paying big money.
Bananas on 140. Bloody.
So they pay 2 million a week, 2.3 million a week.
That Courtney House one can't be right, man. He's been there for a while and he's not even got off 10 bags. What? He must be looking at everyone else. You all right?
Where's Rodgers on that list?
75.
He's probably looking at a contract renegotiation after the season he's had as well. That's the other thing.
They don't look like mad numbers to me, really, for a Premier League side.
They are.
But it's against their revenue, LB. That's what you got to take into account. Now, what they will have with each round they've gone through in the Champions League is more millions coming in. I think they're getting an additional 75 from the Champions League, there or thereabouts. So that will help. But they will also, I think, be breaking UEFA's financial rules, which will probably just be a fine, as far as I understand.
Fine, yeah.
How are they paying Donyell Marlon 140 grand a week? They're big numbers, for output. Leon Bailey 120, Ian Matson 100 grand. Like they're huge numbers for players that have.
Ian Matson's on 100 grand.
Yeah. Their wages are potentially out of control because some of you, who just said it a second ago, if these players are on the back of good seasons, they're gonna want an increase, and they're going to ask for it.
And the thing is, you look at Rodgers, who's I think been one of their best players on 75. If you're Rodgers, you're Malon's on 140, and Anna's on 140, and I've had my output.
You're asking for 120, aren't you? Like at least, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Obviously, a bygone era, by the way. But Agbonlahor said on TalkSport before that he was their highest owner for years on like 80 grand a week. Like they've just blown that out of the water these days. Yeah,
Kieran Maguire, who's like the finance guy. He said Aston Villa lost 85 million pounds in 2023-2024.
I'll tell you what, boys. I fully recommend getting Kieran Maguire on your channels and he's very generous with his time. I've done quite a few bits and bobs with him on Forest, and he talks it at a layman level back to you, and it's really beneficial to your fan bases. He's really good.
So if Villa have to sell a player, like what players could they actually sell for decent cash?
Watkins was linked with Arsenal, wasn't he, for big money? So
Morgan Rogers as well. Morgan Rogers as well, for sure. I think. If I'm honest, but
when are their expirations, by the way, LB? Can you scroll it over a bit just so you're like locked in for a while? Isn't it all the same year?
Fuck's sake, man, why is it not letting me do it? There you go.
There you go.
Oh, when is it?
2029.
Put it.
Rodgers is chilling there. 2030.
Yeah.
Rodgers.
So he's locked in for good money if they want to sell him. Ollie Watkins is 2028, by the way. That's you're going to get a decent return on him.
29 years old. Yeah, you should still get 50 million for Watkins, shouldn't you?
To be fair, if they lost 85 million, they'll make what 100 million from as far as they've got in the Champions League and probably some sales. Like they probably will be all right. To be fair, you would think about it, but they bought in some big.
It's UEFA's rules, isn't it, that they're going to breach because of the squad.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of mad, man. I think when I look at that squad, is that an unreal squad to you, or is Emery doing a really good job with like a decent team? Because I don't look at that squad and go, it's amazing.
To be honest, I think it's underrated at how some of those players are. I think some of the players there, like Yuri Tielemans, I think has been amazing. I don't think he's been spoken about enough. Onana's been quite a good signing. Obviously, they've got Watkins and the likes of Morgan Rogers, but Unai Emery is such a good manager, man. I know it didn't work out at Arsenal. I just think the circumstances weren't correct. But I think for the club like Villa, he's absolutely perfect. And look at what he's doing. I mean, this season, people aren't really talking about Villa as having a great season. They're in a cup semi-final, quarters of the Champions League, and they're still in the top 4 race. If they get top 4, win a trophy, and get to, say, the semis of the Champions League, that's the best season Villa have had in God knows how long. So, look, it could all come crashing down. They could lose to PSG. They could go out. Who have they got in the? Is it Palace? Isn't it in the FA Cup? And then they could get like 6th, and that would be like a disappointing season in terms of what they've won and what they could have won. But let's just be real. Unai Emery's done brilliant there, and I know that he picked them up in 16th, and they shouldn't have really been 16th under Gerrard. However, I didn't expect him to get Champions League and get to semi-finals of cups and stuff with him. He's so good, man. Such a good manager.
I mean, that Asensio signing's been unreal as well.
Yeah.
Like, their January business has actually done them like some favours. I mean, yesterday, were they 1-0 up? They bought on Asensio and someone else, and they won it 3-0.
And all their 3 January signings scored.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, Marlon. Yeah. They've hit the ground running. To get the best out of Rashford as well, like which they're doing, arguably. Like, they've done well there.
Our Arsenal fans told me there ain't anyone available in January. Well, last night, 4 January signings scored. Marmouche and the 3 at Villa. And all of them would have been brilliant for Arsenal, to be fair. I didn't want Rashford, but he would have come in a bit of number. Obviously, Marlon would have been a good signing and a number. He was already at Arsenal as a youngster. Asensio would have been a brilliant buy for Arsenal. You look at us now, we're depleted, bruv. We've got no defenders and no strikers. Our season's kaput. It's going to be about
Asensio's been like really impressed me. I know he's obviously been at Madrid and played in massive games, but some of those sort of players come to the Prem and don't really like set it on fire. But he has. He's been really good.
In the chat as well, Monchi, that's a great shout. Monchi and Emery together, superb. That's Seville, they were together, weren't they? Where they won all them Europa Leagues and stuff. So, yeah, man.
Yeah. Nice.
So, Potts next week, Real Madrid.
Oh, it's going to be horrible, mate. It's going to be horrible. Thomas Partey.
Gabriel out? Is it the hammy that went?
Yeah, he's done, mate. He's done for the season.
For the season?
Yeah, he won't come back now.
He's on for the season.
Yeah, he won't be coming back. He'll be out for 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's done. Another one that has got a hamstring injury. Funny that, isn't it? How can 4 people get hamstrings and it's not the manager overplaying them? Very funny that. But no, Timber's come off with a knock as well. I don't know if he's going to be out for the Real Madrid game. He'll definitely be out for Everton. So yeah, Thomas Partey against Vinny Jr. People 4-0 at the Emirates for the Real Madrid. Yeah, and I don't know. I've no idea what's actually going to be. But I would.
Ben White injured, Potts.
Ben White's got a niggle now. He's got a setback. Yeah, so we've got no defense, man. No strikers, no defense. Which is why I do understand, and I get that you can't always look at, some of it's unlucky. But if you've got to have a manager that rotates properly and man manages, and then you've also got to have a summer and January transfer window that allows you to have a good squad. And I don't think we've done either of those, and this is why it's bitten us in the backside. So, look, I think our problem is going to be who's fit. That is it. Because even with everyone fit, we've got a bloody hard chance of beating Real Madrid. A hard job to get through it, right? But if you said to me, "Oh, you got to go and beat Real Madrid without your defense and without your strikers," I don't think anyone's winning, are they? And that's what we're trying to do. So this is going to be a comfortable 2-legged affair for Real Madrid. I still think we might nick a point at the Emirates, a point at the draw, should I say? But I think it'll be an absolute hammering at the Bernabeu, if I'm honest. So that's what I'm expecting. Kind of like 4-1 on aggregate, something like that.
Do you think you go there defensive? Do you think you almost set up?
I think both teams do in the Emirates. I think both teams. I think it'll be 1-1 at the Emirates. It might even be 0-0. I think, but they'll go low block. Carlo Ancelotti's been doing that. Did it against City, didn't they? LB, to be fair to him. So I think they'll probably do that. And then I think at the Bernabeu, they'll have some fun with us, if I'm honest. It depends who's fit, though, because, I mean, Gabriel, it looks like he's going to be out for a long time. I don't think he came off really badly, to be fair. And if I'm honest, the way he come down was a joke, actually, because we had the ball and none of us kicked it out. And then when they got the ball, we wanted them to kick it out. And it was like, hang on a minute, it's our player. We didn't kick the ball out.
I hate all that woke nonsense, me. Fucking De Bruyne did it the other day. Like, I hate it when players kick the ball out, man.
Yeah, Casado's like,
the ref controlled the game, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
it was Smith Rowe did it, to be fair. It was
collapse.
We had the ball. They went
Smith
down.
Rowe, yeah.
They were rolling around. He was rolling around. He's going like this sort of thing. No one sees it. Well, Arsenal players don't see it. And then we lose the ball and we're going, Fulham, kick it out. And the ball gets to Smith Rowe and he's like, that's my boy. I'll kick it out. So he kicked it out. But like, yeah, he looks like he's done. Timber, you've obviously got Calafiori, Tomiyasu, that's a joke. And then obviously Timber's got a knock. So we've got 5 defenders out. It's crazy. So I think we're going to line up. If those are all out, we're going to have to line up Thomas Partey right back, Saliba, Kivior, Tierney.
I think any game you play, and I think statistically, any game you've played Thomas Partey at right back, you've struggled to win. Yeah. Even though he's been one of your better players in midfield.
He's been brilliant in midfield.
Yeah.
You put him at right back.
That could get so ugly. Like, you know, when Rodrigo, Vinny, and Mbappe all just float out to the left wing together, like they could put a triangle around him. Oh,
the only team we've beaten with Partey at right back was Palace, and that was because we beat him 5-1 when Partey moved from right back into midfield, and it was 1-1 when he was at right back. So that is the only game we've won. Everyone else we've either lost or drew, and he keeps doing it.
Obviously, like your hand is dealt with issues, but is there any way for Arteta not to play Partey at right back and play someone else there, or is it that bad with injuries?
Yeah, there is ways he can not play him there.
So is it if the tie falls on the back of like Partey being a huge issue in those ties, is that another sort of
it'll be on Arteta.
It'll
be on Arteta. I mean, the only thing you could do is you could go free at the back. You could play
because he's got to learn, hasn't he, Arteta, that Partey at right back isn't working. It's like Wolfie said, you haven't won a game. Like you've got to learn at some point that isn't a viable option.
Yeah,
I'd play Skelly there.
That's the option. You can either put Miles Lewis-Skelly at right back, Kieran Tierney at left back, or you can play Tierney, who used to play for right back for Celtic, at right back, and then Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back, and then you've got Kivior and Saliba. That's one option. The other option is you go free at the back, but then you've probably got to play either Ethan or Saka as a right wing back, and that's not great.
No.
So yeah, they're the two options. Really.
I just play Skelly there. I'd just play Skelly there, and before the game, I'd say to him, listen, mate, don't fucking worry. If you get skinned, don't give it a shit, mate. Just fucking keep your head up and do your best, mate. Like, this game is not on you. Just fucking try your best in it. You know what I'm saying? You're up against Vinny Jr. And just, go with the flow. I wouldn't be changing my tactical system completely, like fucking a week before you're playing Real Madrid. I don't think that's the best idea. But yeah, it's fucking mad, isn't it? It's crazy.
Who you got the weekend? Is it Everton?
We got Everton, which I think we're going to rotate and probably lose, and don't care about that one. I think we're going to go for. Well, he won't because it's Arteta, but he probably still thinks we're going to win the league.
I would
just rest. I'd just rest players and then go play Jorginho, play Kivior, play those sort of guys. Sterling, I don't care who it is really. Just rest it up and then go for all out for Real Madrid and just see what you do. That's literally it. We've got all of our dice. They've got to roll the dice on those two games.
What do you reckon he'll do on Everton for Saka? Do you reckon he'll bring him on again?
He'll do the same, yeah. He'll bring on like 20 minutes.
How many minutes did he get last time?
About 20, yeah.
What did he look like? I know he scored, but how did he look like in terms of
a lot of people, because he scored, everyone said it was unbelievable. He was outstanding. He wasn't outstanding. He come on and he scored a header, which was quite easy to score.
Was he moving all right, though?
Yeah, he looked good. He looked like lively. There wasn't much really for him to do, if I'm honest. It weren't one of those games, I don't know if you watched it, but it weren't really one of those like end-to-end games where it was. Fulham were poor, by the way. They look. They actually could have taken something from the game. Muniz missed an absolute sitter with his head, but yeah, they look like they're done, mate. If I'm honest, Fulham, they're like, we ain't gonna get anything. We'll just do what we can. We're out the cup now. Let's just try and finish 8th or 9th. But
killed them.
Yeah, the cup game, they were terrible against Palace. I don't know if you watched that. Oh my God, Palace destroyed them. But I think for me, Saka, it's about working him now and getting him into that position. Look, we've got Ethan, we've got Saka. Marino, to be fair, as much as I took the piss, he's got 5 and 8. It's not actually that bad as a striker. He's actually got better than Havertz in his last 8 games, I think. So when you look at it, he's actually doing a job. But I don't really want to be seeing him up front against Real Madrid, if I'm honest. Martinelli was excellent against Fulham, absolutely brilliant. He was probably one of the best players we had, and that's not been. I've never to say that for a while, which is quite pleasing for me. But yeah, Partey and Timber. This Timber, by the way. He's man. I don't understand.
I like Timber.
He is unreal, mate.
Yeah.
Superlatives are running out for him, mate.
You know what it is?
He played this much football.
Yeah, you know what I like about players like that is like the first time I ever watched him for Arsenal, I was like, yeah, he's a baller. You know, like sometimes you can just tell straight away the first time.
Even before, I remember I was doing box to box with Turkish a couple of years ago when we had you first game of the season. And he's like, who's our best signing? I said to him, Timber. Obviously, that he then got annoyed at me because he got injured and you didn't see him for another year, so he blames me for it. But even before he joined you, he was an absolute baller, and he can play. I think he can play centre back really comfortably.
Yeah, he can.
Well, right back. You've played him at left back as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So he's a versatile player.
He's like the perfect model of like a Dutch like product from their youth football. They get educated in every position. They look comfortable in every single position. Yeah, he's an incredible player. When he doing roulette that game on his debut, he was like doing a little Zidane spin around someone, and then that was the game he got injured, I think.
Yeah, he got his bloody.
He looked incredible. He weren't intimidated by the Premier League at all. Actually, I'll say that with Arsenal. I feel like a number of your players that have come into the team in recent seasons haven't been intimidated by the level they're playing at, especially like Wanyeri, MLS. That's the thing. I think against Real Madrid, they'll be naive enough to not be intimidated by that situation. I think what LB's saying, you play him against Mbappe, he might thrive.
Yeah, those two, to be fair, you throw them in and you say, like, you ain't getting judged, go enjoy it. Now, the problem with that is, look, we're underdogs massively. I don't think anyone will be, as much as everyone will cook Arsenal when we lose, or if we lose, I don't think anyone will go, that's an embarrassment, what a disgrace, especially with the bloody side that we're going to have to put out. I mean, if we genuinely have to play them across 2 legs with Kivior and Miles Lewis-Skelly at a right back, and a half-fit Saka and Tierney, who hasn't hardly kicked the ball this season, I don't think anyone can sit there and go, how the hell have Arsenal lost that? I think it's quite obvious we're probably going to lose, right? So I think you just roll the dice, keep everybody as fit as you can. If Timber's fit, brilliant. If Ben White's fit, brilliant, playing both. And try and lock Vinny and Mbappe and Rodrigo up with the likes of Ben White, Saliba and Timber. Because we've got the defence that can do that. They could do that. If that's their sole role purpose is to, those 3, keep them quiet and let's get to the second leg still in it. What I don't want to do is go, oh, Christ, we've had no defence here. We've lost 3-0 in the first leg and the second tie is a waste of time. That's what I don't want. That'd be really disappointing. So, I want to give them a game, man. Of course we do.
Potts, can we talk about the important Arsenal news of the week?
What's this?
What the fuck is this dating show?
Oh, fuck yeah, no.
Oh, man, it's embarrassing, isn't it? How embarrassing.
I thought I was getting trolled when I got told it yesterday.
No,
I thought it was like fake when I seen it.
It's true. Yeah. They're picking an Arsenal couple. They're going to send them to dinner together, film it. Then they're going to go to the game. They're going to ask about their experience of how's it been? Have you found love through football? Simon Jordan said, I met my wife through football. And I thought, is he joking? Do you think this is a good idea? Look, I think it's madness. I think it's embarrassing, if I'm honest. I'd rather win a trophy than win a date. But, Arsenal are more interested in PR, bruv. It's just more.
So it's real. It's real.
Yeah, no, it's serious. Yeah. I know friends of mine that have applied for it.
Gonna name him or?
No,
you told Mrs. Potts you're applying, or?
Well, no, I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm gonna try and stick to my YouTube. I don't think they want people like me on there, man. I think the club probably know that I absolutely hate the ownership, so they're probably not going to ask me, mate. They're not going to let me win the dog out, let alone give me a date. But I do think, it's embarrassing, isn't it? It's just I'm just not interested in stuff like that.
I can't believe that.
They'll have them dancing in the stands again. You know that viral clip of the Arsenal fan and his Mr. Dancing in the stand. They'll have that, wouldn't they? Again.
Oh, they'll make a massive meal of it if it happens from it. The problem is you will get these. I think what it is it's an invite to a route to be an influencer, isn't it? Because if you imagine winning that show, Both of those people are going to make themselves a few 100,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram, aren't they? So there's probably people are going there not to find love, are they? It's like when people go to Love Island, they don't generally go there to make love, do they? You know what I mean? They go there to be famous. It's going to be like that, isn't it? It's going to be, oh my God, I was the first person who won the dating show at Arsenal. Me and this woman I'm never going to speak to again, but now I've got my 100,000 followers. I'm happy. It's just
how has football come to this, man? I honestly, when I heard it yesterday, I thought it was bullshit. And then you're 32. That picture you sent us yesterday, 32 new.
Bruv.
I've seen that. Yeah, 32 t-shirts or something like that.
Listen, 32 bits of merch and Win the Dog and a dating show. You boys can't say that when you can.
Mate, it's better than the BBC. It's better. It's a one-stop shop.
When you can say that, you're a big club. Trust me. I don't know. I don't get it. And I've been calling out the owners for a while. And obviously, we've got this China vases coming out. Merchandise is coming out. Win the Dog. We've got murals of people that haven't done fuck all at Arsenal. It's a bit of a mess, mate. But the PR spin on it is there's a lot of the fans that are loving it, you know. And the owners are loving it, really, aren't they? You know what I mean? The club shop is booming. Tourist fans across the world are all begging to come to the games. If I give my season ticket up, there's about 400,000 that will be jumping on it to have it. 30,000 waiting lists. I think it's actually got up to 50,000 the waiting list now for Arsenal. So the owners aren't interested, are they? I mean, like one of the lads yesterday said, I've just paid $8.95 for a pizza in the ground. Why? Why have you? It's like a slice. It's not like a full large pizza.
One slice.
It's just a slice of pizza is $8.90 or something now. Yeah, the beer's gone up to $7.20, I think, at the Emirates. I don't drink it because it tastes like shit. But Camden Hells, why the fuck would you want to drink that? It's just tastes you to fucking hell. Trust me. It's awful, mate. Honestly, it's crap. It really is shit. I absolutely hate our owners with a passion. But,
good luck for Real Madrid next week, anyway, mate.
Yeah, gonna need it, bro. Gonna need it, bro.
Right, we'll finish off with this. Big up Chicken Wing says, Wolfie, what are you getting in your next 3 games?
I can't remember. We got Villa. I think best we draw. After that, who we got after that?
Yeah, I get Forest fixtures.
I can't remember.
You've got Villa, Everton, Spurs.
I think we beat Everton and then Spurs. I have
away.
To beat Spurs because it's my brother's team, so I have to.
So you think you get 7 points?
6, 7. I feel like we'll lose to it. I just feel the squad looks too tired to me, but I think 6.
That's your optimistic, but you're actually not that confident, are you?
Season's done for me, mate. We got European football.
Season's done, yeah.
League.
So you
FA Cup, man. FA Cup.
We've won that as well. We're good. Part 2, LB.
Yeah. I'm sure Sam will fucking discuss that later. All right, and boys, big up, man. Shout out your channels. Let's start off with Potsy, man. What you got coming up on your channel, bro?
Do you know what? I'm actually about to jump on with Curtis now at 1:30. Curtis Shaw TV. So me and Curtis are going to talk Arsenal. There's quite a lot of Arsenal rumours about, since the appointment of Andrea Berta, we've been linked with everybody, man. So, we're going to talk about that and talk about Real Madrid and injury crisis. So that'll be me on Curtis' channel. 4 p.m. On my channel on 12th Man. Let's Talk Ball with the guys. That's always a good show. Wolfie's on it as well. He just crashes in around about halfway through and just literally destroys everyone, which is always fun. And that'll be me at 4 p.m, man. So yeah, big up to you, man. Thanks for having me.
Sweet. Dan, what are you saying?
Big game tonight, obviously. Chelsea Spurs should be 3 points. So video will be out on the channel later this evening with my reaction. Yeah. So I don't know how it's going to go. It should be written, shouldn't it?
You worried?
I really don't know. Yeah, more worried than I've been in previous seasons. I'll be real.
You're beating Spurs, right? You always.
We should be. We should be.
3 point late. They're not 3 point late.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm backing Spurs as much as I hate them. I'm backing them tonight. I've got a feeling.
Andy's record is diabolical. I was having a look. It's absolutely diabolical. By the way, I'm pretty sure it's £8 a pint at Chelsea. Just that.
Is it really?
I think so. Yeah.
I can't stand both of these clubs, but I always want Tottenham losing. So I absolutely cannot stand Chelsea with a passion. I hate their Dan's all right, but I hate majority of their fans. They wind me the hell up. Honestly, they really have this obsession with Arsenal, but they also hate Tottenham quite a bit. I think they hate Tottenham as much as they do Arsenal, actually. Yeah, maybe more.
Yeah, we might be more now. Maybe off the back of like Battle of the Bridge and things like that. I think it's really heated up in recent years. So yeah, maybe.
All right, big up, man. And Wolfie, man, what you got coming up, bro?
Yeah, I'll be gate crashing on Dan. I'm on. Well, we're on Sam later
We're
on,
on
aren't we?
Sam later at
LB. And then
3:30,
on my channel, I've got more piss taken out of Man U at 6:30, and a preview for the Villa game. I'm still not done with those United fans, man. I'm absolutely.
You won't hear me complaining with that.
Don't you mess up this weekend, LB, against
LB, I love how he's not even mentioned it, man. He's not even
heard that shit, man. You know what I mean?
You better not lose that game. I'll drop points there, man.
But if they do the double over us this season, it's fucking embarrassing.
They are so shit, but they just know.
So we didn't even have to play, man. Yeah, we just gave them the ball and they fucked up, and Alanga did his thing.
I can't stand them, man. I actually hate. But it's like Spurs, Man United, Chelsea. They're the three in that order. I absolutely cannot stand the three.
Mine's Man U, Spurs. If Man U get relegated, I feel that's something I will take to the grave with me. I will die a happy man. I really would.
It would be.
All right, man. Yeah, big up to you guys in it for joining the stream as always. Shout out to you guys in the chat, man. Make sure you guys smash the likes. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. There will be a watch along tonight. Chelsea Spurs. It'll be on the second channel. More LB. And I think we're doing a panel show tonight as well. So I just need to get that time organised. So make sure you join us later on. But yeah, peace out. Catch you in a bit.